Hello grade 7. Today I will explain part 1 in the chemical reaction. Let's begin. First, definition of a chemical reaction. A chemical reaction is a process where a chemical change occurs. A process where substances called reactants are transformed into new substances called products. What are reactants and products? Reactants are the substances used at the beginning of the experiment, the one found when we start, the ones we mix together, we add over each other. However, the products are the substances obtained at the end of the experiment. They are not found at the beginning. They are obtained after mixing the reactants together. As you are seeing in this example, if we are making cake, we need eggs, flour, milk, butter, etc. When we mix them together and put it in the stove, we'll get the cake. This is a chemical reaction occurring in the kitchen. The reactants are the ones we mix together. However, the product is the cake that we obtained at the end. This is a chemical reaction. Can we get the egg, the flour, the milk, the butter? No. We now have a cake. This is a simple example of a chemical reaction. What are the signs or evidences for the occurrence of a chemical reaction? The evidences or signs are, the first one is the color change. If the color changes you are seeing here, then this is due to a chemical reaction. Formation of a precipitate. What's a precipitate? Precipitate is an insoluble substance that appears in the bottom of the container where the reaction was taking place, and it reveals a chemical reaction. If we mix liquids together and we get a solid, this is due to a chemical reaction. Also, we have energy exchange, such that heat, light, or electric energy. As we are seeing, the temperature increases due to a chemical reaction, or the candle, it gives light and heat due to a chemical reaction. Final evidence is the gas released. When you see air bubbles, this is due to a chemical reaction and releasing of some kind of gases. Which are these gases? We have to test for some gases to know its nature. First, test for hydrogen. How can I know that this gas is hydrogen? If we approach a glowing splint and it makes pop sound, this means that the gas released from the chemical reaction is hydrogen gas. Test for oxygen gas. Also, we use a glowing wooden splint, and if it glows more, here it's burning a little bit, here it glow more. This is due to the release of oxygen gas. Okay, so oxygen gas burns the flame more. Test for carbon dioxide. How can I know that the gas released is carbon dioxide? Simply carbon dioxide, when added to lime water, it makes it milky, cloudy, or turbid, we say. Okay, colorless lime water becomes milky due to the presence of carbon dioxide. So if you use lime water. Now how can we represent a reaction in an equation form? This year in grade 7 we will represent a chemical reaction only using the word equation. How can we do this? This could be done by writing the name of the reactants and the product. We write the names. Reactants before the arrow and products after the arrow. Let us have an example. If we dipped an iron nail that is made up of iron in a copper sulfate solution, the copper sulfate solution has a blue color. After a given time, we will observe a layer of copper on the nail, and the color of the solution will change from blue into green. Why? Due to the formation of iron sulfate. So, what are the reactants? The reactants are the ones that we used at the beginning of the experiment, which are iron and copper sulfate. What are the products for? The products were not found at the beginning. They appear at the end of the experiment. So they are copper and iron sulfate. If you want to write the word equation, we will write copper sulfate plus iron, the reactants. Arrow, copper plus iron sulfate, which are the products. The arrow, as we said, means give or produce. Let us have an application on a chemical reaction. We're gonna see 2 examples. I will start by example 1. Watch the video and then we will answer the questions that follow.
How to determine that a chemical reaction has taken place? Let's perform this activity to understand. We have taken lead nitrate solution in a test tube and potassium iodide solution in a conical flask. Add potassium iodide solution to test tube. We see that the mixture produces a yellow color solution. The color of potassium iodide changes upon mixing with lead nitrate, signifying a chemical reaction.
Now the questions on this experiment, this chemical reaction. Question number 1. Pick out the evidence or evidences indicating the occurrence of a chemical reaction. As we have seen in the experiment, the color change, and at the end we see a precipitate. So the evidences are the color change and the formation of the precipitate. Question number 2. Name the reactants and the products. We said the reactants are the ones we used at the beginning, and the products are the ones that we obtained at the end of the experiment. So the reactants are lead nitrate and potassium iodide. The products are lead iodide and potassium nitrate. If you repeat the video, you'll see them written at the end. Third question, write the word equation. It is very easy. We write the name of the reactants, arrow, then the name of the products, as we'll see. Word equation. Here, the first reactant, lead nitrate, plus the second reactant, potassium iodide. They leads to or gives or produce lead iodide plus potassium nitrate. The first product, the second product. This is the word equation. Example 2.
What happens when metals react with acids? We have taken samples of magnesium, aluminium, zinc and copper. Add the samples into the beaker containing dilute hydrochloric acid and observe the formation of bubbles.
The questions are: first question, pick out the evidence or evidences indicating the occurrence of a chemical reaction. What are the evidences, dear student? We see air bubbles indicating a release of a gas, so this is the first evidence. The second evidence, if you pay attention, the thermometer was recording the temperature, which was increasing during a chemical reaction. So this reaction is releasing heat energy. Then we have also two evidences: the gas released and the energy exchanged, which is heat energy. Question number 2, name the reactants. I want you to name only the reactants that were found. We use magnesium and hydrochloric acid. Identify the gas released, knowing that it makes a pop sound with a glowing splint. We said, which gas make a pop sound, dear student? Yes, it is hydrogen gas. So the gas released is hydrogen gas. Fourth question, write the word equation, knowing that the other product is magnesium chloride. I gave you one of the products and we already know the second one, which is hydrogen. So now we can write the word equation. The word equation is, we mix magnesium and hydrochloric acid. So hydrochloric acid plus magnesium, arrow, it means gives hydrogen and magnesium chloride. Okay, this is the word equation. Hope that you understood the ideas in part 1 of a chemical reaction, and we will continue another time. Bye.